Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas, visiting with Jack Harris and KP, Dave Kearns-Preston from Young Life. So we're celebrating 50 years in Stark County. How are we celebrating?
Okay, in two ways. First of all, on Saturday evening, November 3rd, we're having our 50th anniversary fundraising banquet. Every year we have a fundraising banquet. It helps pay the bills. Although we do have professional staff, we rely very heavily on volunteers for committee. We use lots of college students. We have people who are 60 in their 60s that are running with kids in high school.
Sure, young people.
Because the kids just want to talk to someone and have someone that genuinely listens to them.
Yeah.
But that evening we're going to have R.D. Wilkes, a previous area director like KP, came a few years after KP, was here for quite a while. During some great times, had a lot of clubs going. He's coming back with his wife Donna to speak that evening. We're going to have a video of all sorts of little call-in or videotapes of previous club participants, students who are now adults that are going to do a video selfie, and just share in 30 seconds or less how Young Life's impacted their lives. So we're going to be featuring those all night, and it just should be fun. Second activity then will be next summer, because we had a number of people said we can't get away from where we live now during the school year because we have kids in school. So next summer we're going to have a second event, which we'll be announcing at November 3rd. If people are interested in still joining us for the banquet, there's still room. There's always room.
Okay, we'll make room.
They can go straight to our local webpage, which is YL Stark County, YL for Young Life, so ylstarkcounty.younglife.org.
Okay.
If they go to that home page, they go down the lower left-hand corner, they'll find a button there where they can hit and reserve a spot at the banquet, basically just letting us know that they're coming. The banquet starts that evening with hors d'oeuvres. This is Young Lifestyle hors d'oeuvres, starting about 6:30. Dinner starting at 7. Program starting at 8. It should be, as being Young Life, it should be a fun and wild and reminiscent evening. All
sounds
rolled into one.
Wonderful. It just sounds wonderful. And this is taking place where, Jack?
This will be taking place at the North Canton Civic Center.
Awesome. So you can go to ylstarkcounty.younglife.org.
Correct.
Need to have a head count to know how many of those awesome hors d'oeuvres to make.
Right.
No cost to attend, but lots of opportunities to partner financially once you're there.
Absolutely. So we'll have more than the hors d'oeuvres. We actually have a plated meal as well.
Wow.
But kick it off with the hors d'oeuvres.
Very nice.
Yes. Please join us.
You mentioned volunteers. What kind of volunteer opportunities are there? You said 60-year-olds running with teenagers.
Right.
Literally running? 5Ks?
Literally. Well, I'm not sure about 5Ks.
Okay.
JR is a local guy who's been involved in Young Life. We probably compete for how long. I've been involved in Young Life locally since 1968, 69 when it started here.
Sure.
So I've been involved in 50 years. When my wife and I were just finishing up college, we actually had JR as a high school student that we took up to Saranac, a Young Life camp. JR has been active on committee. He served and worked with a number of the clubs through the years. And every summer he takes vacation time to go to camp with a cabin full of guys.
Wow.
And he's out there playing basketball, running obstacle courses, swimming, doing whatever it takes to build relationships. JR's bottom line is, I want to get to know these kids so I can introduce them to Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So we have people like that. Then we have people on committee. We have lots of the local college students from Walsh, a lot from Malone, sometimes from the University of Akron that are involved in working with the clubs as well. They're closer in age to the high school kids. They remember what that was like, so they get engaged in things like that.
That was a big part of it, was getting to know the college students as well that would come. We,
special relationship.
Yeah, Ridge, George, and Georgia Fussell, who is now Georgia George, were ours. Dave Erder, if these names are ringing a bell, these folks just mean so much to me because they poured so much of their lives into our lives. Kind of amazing to think back, what can we do but pass it on and pay it forward and try to do the same for that next generation coming up.
And entice you to join us. Rich and Georgia will be there.
Oh, my gosh. Must see them. Yeah, it's just, it's too fun just the reminiscing and just to be able to say, okay, so over the last 50 years, what have you been up to? And there's quite a lot of ground to cover.
They're great. They're great.
Yes, great
and they're
people.
Very involved still in ministry.
Yes.
And tell them about Kaylee.
Kaylee is our current area director.
Let's hear about her.
Kaylee Wilcox. She grew up in the Columbus area, came to Malone University, and while she's here, volunteered to be a leader. Volunteer leader, worked with some of the local clubs. When she graduated from Malone, she then became a resident director at a university in another state for several years. And we were at the point where we needed to add some additional staff here and wanted to add a capable woman. And we thought of Kaylee because the years she had already volunteered here, contacted her, and she was going through a time where she was really hunting for a new way to serve God.
Wow,
and,
perfect.
So she came here, was married by then, and she and her husband, Matt, have just been a blessing to this area. And then when our previous area director left about a year and a half ago, Kaylee stepped in as our area director. And we also have some part-time people working urban and a full-time person that's just come on and starting things in Maslin. And we hope to kickstart some other clubs out of that as well.
That leads to my very next question. How many do we have now?
Right now, in terms of clubs, we have a very active one in Jackson, your hometown.
Yay.
Right? We're starting one from scratch right now in Maslin. We had active clubs in Glen Oak and Hoover. Those went through a downtime. So last year we had groups of volunteers at those two high schools that were taking those kids to Jackson and then took some of those kids to camp. As a result, this year we have a separate Glen Oak Hoover club, which as that continues to grow, we'll then break that off into two separate clubs.
Nice.
We also have some urban stuff going where we have in addition to Young Life, which works primarily with high school kids, we have what's called Wildlife that works with middle school kids. We currently have a meeting downtown Canton with one of our part-time urban people, a group of 50-plus middle schoolers that are getting together and meeting. And the same kind of thing, we build relationships with those kids, and then through those relationships we introduce them to Jesus Christ.
And it does almost seem with what kids are going through today that reaching them younger is important. So Wildlife, I love the name of it because what better describes middle school than wildlife? But it's so important and so encouraging to hear. Also, I don't know where this came from, but I love the fact that Young Life got started at Lehman and Jackson, all polar bears. We were all polar. Lehman was polar bears as well.
In fairness, as a Lincoln graduate, we also had it at Hoover High School and Lincoln High School, the 68, 69 year.
Awesome.
That's when I got involved as a kid, graduated in 69, and then became a year later a volunteer leader with Young Life.
Very cool.
Found my wife through Young Life. And, we have served in various capacities through the years, weekends, at camps. And currently we're both on the committee. And
and you've stayed with it. It's so cool. Very neat to be sitting in the presence of two people who've really walked it for 50 years, really have been actively a part of something that's just been so meaningful in my life. And I know so many others.
A good friend and a mentor.
Oh, yeah.
From year one. We've probably known each other about 49 years.
Yeah.
And we've worked together in clubs and things. And I've learned a lot from this man, and he's inspired me in new ways and challenged me in other ways.
Well, and I will say the same. And also the fact that he was our pastor. We went to John Knox, so he was our pastor there as well. And thanks, KP.
Well, this has been great.
So good for me as well. All right, we've only got a minute left, so final thoughts. What are you looking forward to at the banquet? To reminisce for 50 years, what are you thinking? That's what I'm looking forward to.
I'm just looking forward to seeing people.
Yeah.
People that I've known over the years, and I don't even know who's going to come.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun to see people again.
Yeah.
And there's always somebody that I don't expect, and it's fun to see who shows up.
It's going to be exciting. And Jack, how about you?
I'm just looking, again, to celebrating 50 years with people who I haven't seen in years. We've been trying to reach as many previous club participants and leaders and area directors as we can, just to have an evening of fun.
Well, I'm sure someone hearing us has been touched. Their lives have been touched by one of you. I mean, highly likely that that's happened. So be sure to be there November 3rd at the North Canton Civic Center. Go to ylstarkcounty.younglife.org to make your reservations, and we hope to see you there. Jack Harris, Dave Kearns Preston, thank you so much for what you have brought to our community.
God bless you.